McLean. So Rashada Williams is not coming out today for the West Indies, as all of the officials and the teams take a bow. And we too also take a bow in the booth with our right fist to be able to salute the Black Lives Matter movement. We are seconds away from game time, match number 1. West Indies women versus New Zealand. Carl Tuckett quietly just hands the ball over quite easily to the New Zealand captain. And we're just going to be gearing up and ready to go so we can get some action here. Franz Jonas is going to start. So New Zealand, Stacey, starting with spin.
Yeah, no surprise there after the series they've had where spin took most of their wickets.
So it's game on, and umpire Carl Tuckett just looking around, making sure that everything is in tip-top shape. And the spectators are hustling in here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium for what we could consider to be a real derby. We will be bringing it to you live and in living color. First ball from Fran Jonas, the left-arm spinner. Matthews, the West Indies captain, the 6th for the West Indies team. She will start as umpire Carl Tuckett gets his left hand out, and he calls play. Looks at his watch, and we're raring to go. Matthews goes down, waits for Jonas, and she just punches this down to long on. First delivery for a very easy single. The West Indies are off the mark. Matthews is off the mark. And Natasha McLean, she comes in to strike.
Yeah, and Fran Jonas, being one of those players that I mentioned, made her T20 international debut at Commonwealth Games. That game was against Sri Lanka.
So we quietly look at Jonas, wearing the number 26 is Natasha McLean. She's just making sure that she gets her guard sorted out. She gets a ball bang on target, and she's out leg before. Natasha McLean caught on the crease. It kept low. She missed it. And New Zealand has struck early. McLean goes back without scoring.
Yeah, an area she'll have to work on, because that last ODI, she was LBW to Jessica on 1, sorry. Rather than opting to go back, Natasha McLean should have thought about going forward, getting forward early days in this match. West Indies are now 1 for 1, and as Fran Jonas gets the breakthrough.
So McLean before this game she would have played some 30 matches, 416 runs, high score of 82 against Pakistan. But today, she's got to go back into the West Indies hut, out leg before. And if we can get our technical crew to just flick up that again, Stacey and King, so we can see in terms of what is going to be happening. I thought that her head, she lost the ball clearly with left-arm spinner. And that I thought was a real worry for her, as we see a promotion here for her. Is this a promotion, you would say, Stacey and King?
Allen, normally we saw Shabika Gajnabi at that number 3 position in the ODIs. But a good little cameo from Alia Allen in the last ODI, 27 of 34, sorry. To see West Indies home. Yeah. I think that deemed a promotion.
You think? This is her 16th game for the West Indies. Her high score is 18 in T20. Again, she is back and across to a good length delivery. They're going to have to be very careful, because Jonas bowls a beautiful arm ball, and you got to keep looking at the ball. There's a lone spectator on the mound here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, enjoying the sun. Allen looking for a single, certainly that is not on. But I think it was just more or less intent. Haley Matthews certainly, even though she was backing up, she wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, a bit too close for comfort for Haley Matthews.
Into over number 1, and the West Indies 1 for 1. Natasha McLean, first ball, leg before to Frank Jonas, the left arm spinner. She's in out to both Allen. Allen is back and looking to beat backward point, can't score. And the end of over number 1, West Indies are 1 for 1. Matthews is 1, Allen is not.
Yeah, Fran Jonas doing what is needed. And it's something we saw in the ODIs. They maintained, what New Zealand did is maintained a wicket-to-wicket line and forced errors from West Indies batters.
Quite a healthy record for Hayley Matthews. And sometimes you hear the name Hayley Matthews and you say, wow, she's only aged 24. Sounds like she's been around for ages because she's played some 69 matches before this game. So this is match number 70 for her. 1,764 runs of 2,589 balls with a high score of 119. West Indies would need 119 here today. So we're back with the action. Here is Matthews driving, can't score. So Jonas is being replaced by Jensen from the Sir Andy Robertson. New Zealand starting their second over. All important period of play. This is going to be a big moment, Stacey, for the West Indies team under the new captain. Here is a naughty shot by Matthews. No need to try and get fancy. They've got a slip. And we'll be advised to maybe just keep looking up the V. New Zealand starting with a slip. A backward point. Gully backward point. Cover. Mid-on, mid-off. Third man. Short mid-wicket. The traditional mid-wicket. And a fielder on the deep backward square. As Jensen turns from this on the Robertson. Goes past the umpire. And bows to Matthews, who is thinking about it. Turned and had it hit. Allen could have been in problem. The fielder at short mid-wicket came in really quickly and threw at the non-striker's end. Looks like it was Georgia Plymouth. And maybe had that been a direct hit, Allen could have been in problems.
And it's a good matchup too because Hayley Johnson would have represented for TKR in the women's CPL. And TKR and Barbados would have played in the final of that CPL. So playing against Hayley Matthews a number of times in the 60 and that CPL, she got her twice in those matches.
A little inducker there from Hayley Matthews, and she was sort of uncertain. She was feeling for it. She didn't get a big stride out, but she got a little bat onto it, and it raced down to the more or less short fine leg area. She got a single, and Allen will now face Jensen. She's driving beautifully, can't score on the offside. Good cricket shot. And Allen has shown in the last game she played for the West Indies that she's a busy player.
Yeah, she's always looking to rotate the strike. And again, this is a faster game. This is a T20 series, so T20 mode has to switch in really quick.
Yeah, by the time you look, 20 overs have been bowled. Jensen, wearing the number 87. Goes to Allen. Allen is back and just punching that past the gully and backward point. Hayley Matthews is turning blind, and she's got to be very careful. And they're coming back for third. A little hesitation there. And again, the communication off, but she got in the end. They got 3 runs.
Yeah, and again, we see a relay throw, an attempted relay throw between the New Zealand fielders. Boundaries are pretty big. We still haven't gotten those dimensions.
Yeah, something we have to work on. And for women's cricket, I don't think that we need the boundaries so big. If we're encouraging women to play cricket at the end of over number 2, 5 for 1, I really think that we really need to look at the boundaries, and especially here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. They're huge. So 4 runs coming out of the second over. West Indies at the end of 2. They're 5 for 1. They've lost Natasha McLean without scoring. Jonas, the left-arm spinner, she's bowled well. The ball to Allen. Allen back and looking to beat the backward point fielder. Can't score. I think she would be advised to get a little closer, Stacey and King, to that ball.
It's a heavy offside field. That ring is set with 4 players. It'll be pretty difficult to get through that. Might just want to use the pace, and I was thinking about guiding it down that short third man area, which is vacant, but a good single in the end from Allen.
Might not have the pace to be able to. Jonas is mixing up her variations, and so it's going to be, she's really not pace on ball, and that's going to maybe make it even a little bit more difficult for Allen. Matthews is into strike down the onside. She just turns it to the short fine leg, and just Allen is away very quickly, and they get another easy single. So the power play overs is going to be very important, and West Indies would hope to get off to an explosive start. Here, into over number 3, 7 for 1. Allen is 4. She comes into strike. The West Indies captain, Hayley Matthews, she's on 3. It's the CG United T20 series. West Indies women versus New Zealand women. 5. Weekend is going to be a big one. Saturday, Sunday. Here is Allen back and trying towards Stacey and King, trying to see if she can get fancy, but there's no pace on. So she can't really get to manufacture anything.
Yeah, in this case, her best option might be to just take pace off, get forward, get defensive, and just try to get in one of those gaps. Oh, the old sweep shot never goes wrong.
Here's Jonas with another delivery between middle and leg. And Allen would have heard Coach Stacey and King, and she just turned it into the onside, right in front of the umpire, Crawford, and she gets an easy single. In the meantime, the score goes up to 8. Allen is 5, and Matthews is on 3, went over number 3. Here is a delivery, which is maybe sort of got Matthews into a little tangle, but she got a little inside edge onto it. Just down to the short third man area. Peel went up, but she wasn't really convincing. She did get an inside edge onto it. So over number 3 is completed. West Indies are 9 for 1. Allen is 5. Matthews is 4. Natasha McLean, she's back in the hut for the West Indies without scoring.
Vernon, something that I've also noticed is by some of the stats that has come in, this is New Zealand's first bilateral series in Antigua, at this is Vivian Richards ground. They've played so far at Grosselet. They've also played in Barbados at Bridgetown, but they've never played here. So this is their first T20 series in Antigua.
Interesting piece of information there from Stacey and King. Here is Matthews losing her shape and just tugging this one up to mid-on. And she looked as if she made her mind up that she was going to be aggressive. She goes to 5. Both batters are on 5. And the score in the meantime goes up to 10 for 1. Jensen continuing from the Sir Andy Roberts end. Flashing hard. The third man will have some grounds to get around there. It looks like Jonas. They're coming back for 2, and they get it quite easily. And if you looked at what was happening in the ODIs, Frank Jonas has a weak arm, really feeling on the boundary. But good running between Matthews and good communication between Matthews and Allen. She picked up 2, and the score in the meantime goes up to 12 for 1.
Yeah, which is why we've seen them on a number of occasions relaying. They've been chasing in pairs.
Jensen turns, goes past the umpire Crawford, in now to both to Allen. Allen is driving straight down the ground. Lovely cricket shot for 4. Splitting the middle and the middle off and hitting the CG United boundary board. That's a lovely cricket shot by Allen. You got to hit the ball straight down the V.
Yeah, pitched up delivery by Hayley Jensen, more or less in the slot for Alea Allen. And with those fielding restrictions, third man and deep square out, a brilliant shot from Alea.
Let's see what the response will be from Jensen. Jensen to Allen. Allen is getting a naughty shot. No need for that. Stand up and punch it, find a gap. It's a good cricket wicket here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. New Zealand bowling more. Jensen, more or less bowling to a 6-3 field. Stacey and King. We've got at least almost like a semi ring of fielders inside the 25-yard circle for Allen. Jensen in the ball to Allen, and Allen is just nudging that. Haley Matthews got off a little bit late there, but in the end, they got home quite easily.
Yeah, I like this partnership. It looks, the running between the wicket, yes, there's been some good fielding from New Zealand, but it has been positive from Allen and Matthews.
17 for 1. We're into over number 4. It's a lovely day here. And this is game match number 1. Jensen to Matthews. Matthews is flashing hard. No pace on there. And he just came down to Jonas. The end of over number 4. The West Indies captain just looking a little frustrated and thought that she really didn't get the bounce that she wanted. She's on 6 and Allen is 12.
Yeah, I thought if she left that ball, it might have been wide. I think that was her frustration going at that delivery. It swung away a lot from Haley Jensen.
18 for 1 at the end of over number 4. And just to let you know that coming up next will be the voice of Seth Burton and Rani Bikramdas as New Zealand continue to ring the changes here. And we'll see a new bowler. Is this Liz Tahuhu? She bowled with some pace. Stacey and King in the 50 overs.
Yeah, one of the more senior players, Leah Tahuhu, made her debut in 2014. She's only played 6 matches against West Indies. And has 5 wickets.
So Tahuhu goes past umpire Carl Tuckett. Pitched up down the onside. She starts with a wide. And Gaze comes across nicely.
Yeah, in the
just
ODIs,
connects.
we saw just the same from her, just trying to bowl too much wicket to wicket and overcompensating by pushing a few deliveries down the leg side. Just seeing, well, we can see it, the fine leg has now moved a bit squarer.
Tahuhu is in now to bowl to Allen and trying to roll her wrist over that one. Matthews in the end getting a leg by. So the score in the meantime goes up to 20 for 1. It's always very difficult. The breeze very strong here at North Song Ground at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, blowing from east to west. So I think that might be a challenge in itself for Tahuhu. Down the onside again. And she's upset with herself, but this time Allen gets a glove onto it and gets a single.
Yeah, well, she should be upset with herself because the field that she has is a heavy offside field. Just 3 fielders on the leg side.
You see the point about having a balanced field in terms of a 5-4, because you tend to put you under some pressure. I have to be careful in talking to skipper Stacey and King. She looks at me as if, Vernon Springer, you have to bowl to your field. Down the onside again, bat onto it. And the fine leg will have a challenge. Will she get around? Oh, that's a magnificent effort. Beautiful effort there, looks like, from Jensen. And she would have saved 2 runs.
Yeah, definitely. Haley Matthews got some bat on that. And Jensen, who was much more squarer, had to run away or run around to her right. And those are the efforts in which you like to see. Those are the match-winning efforts sometimes that are needed.
Tahuhu goes past umpire Carl Tuckett to bowl to the West Indies captain. And she just clips this one beautifully down into the deep backward square leg fielder, more or less. Wide third man into the deep backward square. But there's a reason for that setting, as Stacey said. She's bowling in swingers. And she really would want to start them from just at least the 4th stump out. She's starting them more or less middle and leg, and she's having a torrid time here. Allen is 13. Another single onto the offside. And so, quiet period of play. Nothing much explosive that you can think about, really, except the lovely straight drive by Allen down the ground. So, by New Zealand standards, to be able to keep the West Indies quiet in the first power play, it's not too bad. 25 for 1. Tahuhu would want to end strong. She thinks about it. Down the onside, clipped away into the It's gone all the way. The
Umpires
umpires, one bounce gone for 4. So a boundary to Matthews on the final delivery, and we were talking about her ending on a high at the end of over number 5, 29 for 1. More comments from you, Stacey King? No, I think we'll have a double change. The RS will be in the house, running and set.
Thank you very much, Vernon. And yes, good afternoon to all our viewers. And I should say good afternoon to Seth. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Ronnie. It's good to see, in spite of a tough first over for the West Indies, good to see some consolidation by this pair, and also New Zealand looking good in the field. So we're set for a good game of cricket.
Yeah, definitely set for a good game of cricket. And we see a bowling change from the Sir Andy Roberts' end. That's Rowe coming into the attack. So this delivery is just outside the off stump. And that's Leah. Let that one go to the keeper. So a decent start here for the West Indies, Seth?
Yes, a decent start. I think after Natasha McLean departed in the second ball.
And this one is a good delivery just outside that off stump in the channel that you want the bowlers to be bowling. It creates that doubt in the batter's mind. And this time, Aliyah just letting that one go to the keeper.
Interestingly, I think what Aliyah has also brought to the table is the presence of mind to run quickly and keep the captain in good check with the run in between the wickets.
Yeah, that's a wonderful feature of the game we saw this morning. Just pushing the ball into the gaps and, getting that quick single, putting the fielders under pressure. And if there's a slight misfield, they're taking full advantage of it, getting that extra run. So that's excellent. And as you rightly say, Leah did it well. And we saw, we'll see, that's Henry. She did it very well, yes, in the ODIs. This one is hoiked away into the leg side. Is it going to go to the fielder? No, just short of that fielder at deep square leg. They're going to get 2 here. They come back comfortable for 2 runs.
Yes, good initiative on the part of Aline. It may have been in the air for a while, but the intent, I think, was good. Going over mid-wicket. In fact, there is only one fielder slightly backward of square on the onside. That's the fielder on the onside, on the boundary. So she saw the opportunity.
Yeah, trying to take advantage of this final one. This one is wide, cut away, past the point. Fielder is going to run away into the boundary for 4. So that's another boundary there for the West Indies woman, and they are going along really nicely now. They're starting to motor along here.
Motoring well, in fact.
Yeah,
Aline has been the one outscoring Hayley Matthews. That's a rare situation in the current setting of West Indies cricket. So it's good to see that she's feeding on the presence of the captain and taking that assertive approach.
Yes, naturally aggressive is Aline, and she's taking full advantage of the loose deliveries. This one again is closer, guided straight or misfield there at point, and they're going to get 2 for a single. They're going to go for another. Yes, they're going to get 2 easy runs. Looking for a 3rd. This is good here from Hayley Matthews. Pushing Aliyah to get that 3rd run. Excellent run in there between the pair. And that pushes the total on to 38 for 1 after 6 overs. A decent power play.
Certainly a decent power play. You're going over a run per ball. You're going, at 6.5. I think that's good. And the fact that they have only lost 1 wicket, that of Natasha McLean, they're setting a firm foundation. I think also a point that our colleagues were making earlier was the size of the ground. It's a little bit above average. So I think the batters recognizing that they're seeking that opportunity to push hard for runs, and I think it is paying off thus far.
Yes, excellent. Totally agree with you there. And taking full advantage of the dimensions of the ground. And that's what you want to see players taking advantage of the environment that they are in, using it to the max, as you would see. So another change in bowling, that's Fran Jonas. She comes back into the attack. Again, a good delivery into the pads. That's Aline looking to work this one into the onside, but not making contact. Good work by the keeper there in gathering that one to prevent any chance of a single.
The point that New Zealand would not have played at the Seviv in a T20 before, I think, could well be a good advantage for the West Indies women. They would have played quite a lot here.
Again, this time played into the onside by Aline. She picks up another single. She moves nicely on to 23 now. 23 from 23 deliveries, which is excellent. So as you rightly said, Seth, it's setting that platform that is required for them now. And, with power play over, the field is spread. It's easy for them to get that single, that double, and work the ball around.
I think also what you're going to see, Ronnie, to bring another dynamic in the absence of Stephanie Taylor in this game, it is going to then mean that perhaps Matthews, the captain, may be playing the role of anchoring and trying to bat through.
She's the captain of the team. She has to do that. Opening the batting, she would want to bat throughout, and if she can bat till the end, they'll give themselves a decent total on the board. So you can see with the New Zealand skipper, Sophie Devine, she's ringing in the changes here, constantly changes the bowlers around, not allowing the batters to settle, which is exactly what you want. This time it's Hoyt straight down the ground, past the fielder at mid-off, and it's going to run into the boundary for 4. So Aline continues that aggressive nature here, and it's pained evidence for the West Indies here. And they would want her to continue as long as possible. She moves nicely on to 28 from 25, Seth.
Yes, getting another 4, and it was flat batted. She saw it, it stood up, it was not turning, it was not an arm ball coming in either, and she really had her sway.
This time, tighter delivery on that middle and off line, and all Alea could do is push that one straight back to the bowler. And there's no run. So a good over there for the West Indies as the end of 7. It's 44 for 1 set.
Yes, I think West Indies would be happy with that over. Aline, her confidence will continue to build. Captain Hayley Matthews, she's as steady as you can think. What may be going in Sophie Devine's mind is what next should I do in terms of the changes, because we rightly said Jonas coming in for her second spell. In the 6th over, she had 2 at the start. It would be interesting to see if there is another change in bowling, but how well mixing up her bowlers would work for her team. I think all that may be going through her mind as we see some, the players having perhaps a little changeover in gloves, and they are just getting ready to resume action.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned with Sophie Devine, she's ringing in the changes, so it's another change from the Sir Andy Roberts end. And it looks like Amelia Kerr, she's going to take up the attack now. The left-arm spinner, who had a good ODI series with ball and bat, and she would want to continue that form here in the T20. And wide, cut away, just passing the diving fielder. That's Green, I believe, at point. Good work by the fielder on that point boundary, preventing a boundary there. So it's 2 more to Matthews. This score moves on to 46 now. Yes? So a bit short on wide there from Amelia.
Yes, a pattern that we have seen.
This one tossed up. And Hayley Matthews' eyes would have lit up when she saw that one, but just letting it go as it dipped on her.
I think the temptation was there, but the long off and the cover on the boundary may have been the reason why she didn't go full throttle on that.
This one is guided to that fielder at point. No run. So keeping things quiet here is Amelia thus far. Down the leg side. pad on its
Yes,
way.
it may have taken the tie pad because it would have been a wide, but it's Haley's approach. She's batting outside of off, in fact. All her stumps are exposed.
Yeah, this time wide outside the off stump. Yes, and you're quite right, Seth. And she's batting just outside that leg stump. So she's opening up herself to go over that offside field. There you see again, just allowing herself, giving herself room. Just that one fielder who's out on the cover boundary. So she's trying to open up that offside to go over the top, over extra cover. If she can go over extra cover, that's a short boundary. So she's trying to play with the spin here. This time it's cut away straight to the fielder at point. So she's trying to play with the spin here. Lucky for her, Amelia didn't bowl the googly to get on that back foot.
That's right. But a good over nevertheless from Kerr. Only 3 runs come in from that over. But she did present a few opportunities. Temptation, I think, for Haley Matthews, who has taken a less dominant approach towards scoring. But there were a few scoring opportunities. But I think the West Indies captain recognizes that the responsibility lies heavily on her shoulders in the absence of her other senior batter and former captain. And I think oftentimes a player could be trapped in 2 minds. Do I play my natural aggressive role, or do I temper it and be less a risk?
Exactly. The partnership moves on to 46. So a wonderful partnership here for the West Indies. It's another change in bowling. This one is hit just over the head of the fielder at mid-on, and it goes into the boundary for 4. So the aggressive nature of Aline here is bearing fruits for the West Indies. As you can see, Tahuhu just pulling that one on the pads. Well, just outside the off stump, and it's just in the slot, as you would say. And she just hits through the line of that delivery.
And brings the 50 up at the same time.
Yes, 50 up. Sam again, cut away over that cover fielder. And, well, there's cover on that boundary. So they just get a single. So Aline continues to be aggressive here. Do you think that she should continue in this way, or is it necessary in this middle over to just curb that tempo a bit?
I think she should maintain it, because she will feed from whatever decision her captain may have made out there.
Yeah, I quite agree, because as you said before rightly, Haley Matthews is playing that anchor inning. So she would want Aline here to continue this aggressive nature. If she can get off and get a quick 50 or so, it would be excellent for them.
It would not only be excellent for the team, but it would be huge for her moral, because we have reiterated over the past 3 years that someone needs to step up.
So, and it's cut away in the air, runs away into the boundary, and that's square boundary, for 4 more. So, Aline continues here. This one was given a lot of width there, was short and wide, as you can see, and she threw everything, including the kitchen sink at that one.
She hammered it.
Yes, definitely. And
she picked the gap well. She's looking so composed. For some time we have been calling and saying, outside of whom we may have called the big 3, for other batters to step up, and she's definitely stepping up now.
And this time it's short, expected by the fast bowler, and pulled away behind square for another boundary. So Aline is on fire here for the West Indies set.
Yes, she's on fire. She's striking at over 136 at this moment. She is on 41 from 30 deliveries, and this is good. Hammering that one backward of square, 2 fielders coming around, and could not stop it. I think it is important, with Stephanie Taylor not being here, for someone to show that they have not only the capacity but the composure to do that job, and she's doing it in an excellent manner with the support of her captain at the other end.
Yes, I totally agree. Expert batting. And the feature of her batting, as you see, the end of the 9th over, it's 62 for 1. The feature of her batting is she's playing the ball on the merit. If it's short and wide, she's going after it. If it's short on that stump, pull it into the leg side. So she's playing the ball on merit. If it's pitched up, she's going down the ground. So it's excellent batting from her. It's not just swiping and trying to power the ball to the onside. It's excellent batting from her.
Was that?
It would be interesting, Stacey and King, who would have seen the pitch this morning or this afternoon rather, would be able to tell us what sort of pitch that she thinks or what sort of score she believes that her former teammates may be getting. More runs.
Yes, so it's 4 more. So it's Amelia Cook continues from the Sir Andy Roberts end, and this time it's shortened. It's just wide of that off stump, and it's guided past that point fielder for another boundary. It's just using the pace of Amelia there and guiding that one, and it races away to the boundary. So we can see the outfield is very fast.
Very fast. And after quite a period of rain, she's just 4 away from her half century. Oh, this time.
That seems to be the wrong one there. That one coming back
into her, and she was well positioned to cut or to glide. And then she was held up not only by the movement of the ball into her, but also a bit of bounce. So she would be confident on 47.
Yeah, definitely.
Here is Matthew being out caught. Unfortunate situation. Going and really opting to drive. Looked as though she wanted to loft the ball over the extra cover region, but she was caught right on the circle. West Indies losing the most critical wicket of the innings. Captain Haley Matthew going for 15, pitched up nicely, drove it, full-blooded drive, but straight into the path of the fielder who is celebrating.
Bates. That's Susie Bates, yeah.
A big break for New Zealand.
That's a huge wicket for them, a wicket that they wouldn't have expected. But we saw in the previous over from Amelia Kerr where Haley Matthews was trying that same shot over and over, and she didn't make proper contact. This time, again, pulling away, looking to make room to go over that offside. But this time, didn't get the elevation that she wanted. And it went straight to that fielder at extra cover, who took an easy catch there, Susie Bates. So, good breakthrough there for New Zealand.
Yes.
Broke a 66-run partnership from Haley Matthews and Leah Aline. So an excellent breakthrough for them, and this would give them some confidence. And in the 10th over, 67 for 2, is that?
Yes, much confidence. Kerr would have been happy because she was just earlier being struck for 4. She would have thought that she had something to offer. And we saw in the previous over that she was trying to entice Matthews. Now on this occasion, she was able to not just entice, but she was able to take that wicket. And I said how critical that wicket is. Not just that she's the captain, not that she's just that she's the best batsman, but with a temper, the aggressive approach that we have had from Aline. However, she's joined by Chidi Nation, who is by nature that sort of player.
Yeah, and if you look at the West Indies batting lineup, all the batters coming down are naturally aggressive batters. And it says well for them in this T20 format. So they are going to come at you as a bowler. You're going to get aggressive batters coming in one after the other. So they're going to come at you very hard. Let's see. It's Amelia. This time, Nation just pushing that one into the offside. So you can see a little pep in the step of the New Zealand fielders here. They feel they're in with a shout now. If they can just restrict this batting lineup a bit, strangle them in this middle overs.
The difference you may find, though, in the approach, whereas Aline, as you mentioned, would be going both off and onside and also hitting down the ground. You already see Nation's intention of going across the line and across the spin, the trajectory of the delivery.
Again, pushing this one into the cover region. Susie Bates is there. They get a single. And at the end of 10, it's 68 for 2. And we're going to have a double change here with Vernon Springer and Stacey Ann King coming into the commentary position.
want to thank our colleagues Ron and Seth. I call them the RS pair. We've just completed our partner period. Haley Matthews, Stacey King will be very disappointed in the way in which she got out at a critical time, as Franz Jonas will continue. In fact, her final over of her fourth spell, 1 for 11 so far. New Zealand looking to press the advantage on. And it's a chance also for Shady Nation to get some runs for the West Indies. She's back on steering this. But the ball just goes into the point area. Good afternoon again, my dear.
Yeah, good afternoon, Springs. Yeah, Haley will be disappointed. 15 of 23, and Aliyah Allen was doing the majority of the damage. So there was absolutely no pressure. And now it sees the Shadeen Nation to decrease. Well, Shadeen hasn't featured in any of those ODI matches, so she'll be coming into this thinking that she needs to get runs.
She just needs to be herself. Comes quite far thinking about a single. They get it in the end. It's a little bit risky. And umpire Carl Tuckett gave her the benefit of the doubt. I think she got in. But I just thought that she played that just a little bit too hard. Stacey King to the short mid-wicket area. And she's a player who goes hard at the ball.
Yeah, as we see that review, oh, she's actually gone. But umpire's decision, they unfortunately don't have TV reviews, or else this could have been a different story for West Indies. It could have been 69 for 3.
Could have been.
Or 68 for 3 because that run was completed.
Jonas to Allen. She is back inside the edge, and she was in two minds there. Was neither forward nor back. Got an inside edge, and lucky not the ball not to have gone on onto a stump. She's got to be a lot more tighter. I think she's really now thinking about the half century and the loss of Haley Matthews, who will be playing with her mind. I should have been talking about saying, hey, let's just bat all of the overs. Nation is going across the line. She's out bowled. A poor shot by Shady Nation.
Yeah, I was mentioning that she hasn't played in any of the games and given an opportunity in this first T20 because possibly thinking that she better suits this type of cricket. But just look at this from Shady Nation facing her her eighth ball. Plays across the line, swing on a miss. And Fran Jonas picks up her second.
Worrying times for New Zealand. And Stacey for West Indies, and it's sort of mind-boggling because if Shady Nation has not played in the 50 over, why would she then come out at 4 today? I would have thought that it would have been more suitable to send a Kashana Knight, the left-hander, especially losing Haley Matthews, the captain, and with the momentum that Allen has been exhibiting so far.
I just think possibly in their defense, Stephanie Taylor not featured in this series. And again, this is a rebuilding team. This is a number of positions that they've now got to fill. So honestly, I'm not too hard on them for sending Nation at that position. I just thought her application should have been better. She's played a number of matches, so she's not a junior player. She's a senior player for West Indies.
Great point by you, Stacey and King. And out comes Kashana Knight.
Kashona Knight, well, she's playing in her 100th international match and 50th T20 match for West Indies. Yeah. Jonas over comes to an end. West Indies 70 for 3 after 11.
Yeah. Jonas picking up some 2 for 13 so far from her 4 overs. So she would be, on any given day to get 2 wickets for 13 runs. Very, very, very important period of play here. So, pressure continuing here on the West Indies. Their current run rate is 6.36. And Allen approaching a half century. Here is a nice flighted delivery by Kerr. She's not afraid to fly the ball. She's demonstrated that during the 50 over series. Allen, she's on 48. She gets back and cracks that out to the sweeper. And she'll get one. She's contented to stay on 49.
Yeah, and she has a very good strike rate, Leah Allen, versus both spin and pace. Against spinner, she averages 80, and against pace, she averages 56.09. So from her, a good batter, a good all-round. Well, she has worked on her skills quite well, and you had a very good display of that in the last ODI.
Shauna Knight is just back and just clipping this out into the deep back of square leg area. Couldn't help but listening to Stacey and King talk about Shady Nation being a senior player. Some 38 matches for the West Indies, 406 runs, high score of 63, an average of 17.65 with 2 half centuries for the West Indies. So, more or less, she's bowled. Poor shot by Allen. And she would be disappointed with herself. And it really was a nothing shot, Stacey and King. She did all of the work and then got a ball trying to get fancy rather than just being tight enough. And we were speaking about that before. She's lost her stumps. She goes back bowl for 49.
Yeah, she'll be disappointed. Her highest T20 score, Leah Allen, that of 49, really missed out here on a half century by trying to go back to guide that delivery. Rather, might have been better to play a bit more in front of her. But Amelia Kerr makes the breakthrough again. So spin being the vital supply, more or less, for New Zealand once again. West Indies are in some trouble, 72 for 4.
And I want to really not nail home the point, but talk about the point that Ron and Seth was talking about in the loss of Hayley Matthews. Because West Indies, they were gradually grinding their way, and New Zealand were faltering around. And that partnership, yielded over 50 runs. And when Hayley Matthews got out, it sort of gave New Zealand a momentum straight away. So we have 2 new batters at the crease. Rashada Williams comes out for the West Indies. She originally opened. In fact, she's taken an off-stump guard. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So let me see what Rashada's approach would be. No helmet, a cap for the West Indies. And Amelia Kerr, who's bowled well. She bows to Rashada Williams, and Rashada Williams is trying to cut the ball straight on her stump. I think they would be advised to maybe look to play the ball more up in front of them, because when you're trying to cut, your head is moving, and you have to be careful. Here is Kerr, and Rashada Williams just playing quietly on the offside, but she didn't get onto her bike quick enough, Stacey and King, and almost got run out.
Yeah, it's a concern for me with her running. Yes, I know you want to get off the mark, but you're making that call. You've got to get in there quicker.
So 12 overs bowled. West Indies are 73 for 4. Both batters in Knight is 1. Williams is also 1. And New Zealand clawing their way back into this game.
It looks like Susie Bates will feature with her spin.
And not medium pace.
Yeah, Fran Jonas bowling out her 4 overs, 2 wickets, and 13 runs. Economy rate of 3.25.
Impressive spell. You can't say more for that. So Bates, we're in a big number. A Michael Jordan number. A Kobe Bryant number 23. She's a big player. No need to tell you that. She's a big player for New Zealand. Here is Rashada Williams driving.
Yeah, almost driven back in Bates' hands.
I hope that she's not been dropped there. Let's look at this one and see what happens. Think it's drop?
It is drop.
Stacey and King. Here is, and again, another leading edge. Rashada Williams trying to, but not get tight enough. I think she's squaring up. She's got to play the ball a lot more straighter. And have a look.
Seems to be tying herself up in a bit of a web from Susie Bates.
Bates into both of Rashada Williams. She gets an on-drive, low full toss, and just stroked it down the ground, getting an easy single.
Yeah, it's a much better shot. And from an over-pitch delivery from Susie Bates. And now our left-hander on strike, so a lot of changes ringing in.
Susie Bates will be very upset that she dropped Rashada Williams that early. That could have been 74 for 5. Or 73 for 5 at that point in time. She's going to come around the wicket now to bowl to the left-hander. Thinking about it, Kashona Knight. She's a 1. She stands up straight and punches it, can't score. Just needs to just get a little bit deep and find the gap. These two are going to have to come up with a rebuilding process for the West Indies women. 74 for 4.
Yeah, the leg side is quite vacant, so possibly an opportunity to work it into the leg and pick up singles.
Good cricket shot there. She would have hurt coach Stacey and King, and she just rolled the wrist over into the leg side. Vast acres of land here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium at North Zone. So you just have to be able to just find the gaps. Something West Indies have been guilty of. 75 for 4. Both batters in Knight and Williams on 2. Williams is in strike. And Bates to bowl to Williams. Williams is on driving beautifully down to Amelia Kerr at long on, who comes in off the boundary. She has a flat return into Bates. Over number 13 is completed. Bates' first over cost her 3, and West Indies are 76 for 4. Williams is 3, Knight is 2.
Yeah, runs have really dried up since the dismissal of the informed pair of Matthews and Allen. Yeah, those middle overs, they were scoring 11 runs, 9 runs, 6 runs in at least the 6th to 8th over. Things have slowed up a bit, and with good bowling, of course, from New Zealand. And they've now switched the momentum.
So, Rashada Williams has called for a helmet. Yeah, Elaine Turner, her mother, and her crew, they come to every cricket game at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, whether it is Cool and Smooth, local cricket, Leeward Islands playing, West Indies playing, women playing. They're out in their numbers. And trust me, that crew is going to get bigger on the weekend. I can tell you that. Divine to bowl to Rashada Williams. She's just clipping that one away. Full toss. Down the onside. Easy boundary. Fine leg fielder can't get around. Williams gets a boundary. She goes up to 7. In the meantime, the score goes up to 80 for 4.
Yeah, pace on, easier to score, and well played from Rashada Williams, I beg your pardon. A wayward delivery from Sophie Divine. Yeah, well, this is something we saw in the ODIs once. She gets hit for a boundary. She comes back with an aggressive ball.
She does. She's a competitor. She is a competitor. You could see that fight in her face. And she would have played with a number of the West Indian players, including yourself, Stacey and King, around the world. She doesn't back down. Rashada Williams is just turning that delivery into the square leg area. And they get an easy single. Good cricket overall so far by Knight and Williams.
Yeah, I had a chat with her after that last ODI. Had some presentations and interviews to do, and she was saying, well, Stacey, I've got to keep up with these young players. A number of retirements, 4 New Zealand women in Katie Martin, Amy Satterthwaite, Frankie McKay. A number of them would have been standouts throughout the years. So rebuilding time for New Zealand. Also rebuilding time for West Indies. Well, they've lost Deandra Dutton to retirement, and Isa Mohammed taking 6 months break from cricket. Shemaine Campbell missing out on this series due to injury. And Kaisia Knight, who is on surgical leave. So rebuilding time for both teams.
Single tonight. Williams now in strike, thinking about a single but can't score. And both umpires, Crawford and Tuckett, have a communication line where they're expected to have 2 legal deliveries left in over number 14. In fact, it should be 1. Divine's first over so far has cost her 6. She's a competitor. We're in the number 77. Rashada Williams is coming down the wicket, and when she got there, she missed it completely and was thinking about a single, but had to scurry back into her crease as over number 14 comes to an end. West Indies are 82 for 4. They've lost Matthews, McLean, Allen, and Nation. Knight is 3, Williams is 8, and the current run rate is now 5.86 with at least 6 overs to go. You think you want to have a Vitamalt bet today?
Well, they had a 3 run already. So be careful. That partnership you're mentioning about with Matthews and Allen, 66 or 55. Really helped to hold things together. Allen coming in at number 3 in this first T20 for West Indies.
Single 2. Kashana Knight. And let's see what the field placing will be like for Rashada Williams, who wants to get aggressive. Knight is 4, Williams is 8. She's facing Susie Bates. Bates into Knight to Bates. Sorry, to Rashada Williams, who is on driving. She likes the ball in that area because she's a strong bottom-handed player. So the right hand comes into play. And lovely use of the feet there. And she could control, good balance. Like to see her exhibit the same on the offside. Here is Knight back, taking a risky single there. She's run out. That was a risky single. It's almost like hit and go. And the ball went straight to the fielder. And Knight took off, Williams took off. The throw came to the non-striker's end. And we saw it even from a distance. We called it even before Carl Tuckett sent it out. And direct hit, and she was left open. Boom, all over.
Yeah, I think from Kaishona Knight, it was poor running because she didn't seem to really put in the gears to get to the non-striker end. She would have played the ball, so it's in front of her. She would have known to say yes or say no. Let's have a look again at that.
I think it looks like Georgina Plummer. Beautiful. You practice these all day, Stacey, and you know that. You've been in a number of encounters like that.
No, and good awareness as well from Plymouth to pick up and throw to the non-striker end because she would have realized that Kaishona and I took off late because she was still ball watching.
I wonder if she's missing her sister. Didn't look herself. In the first game, at the 50 overs, she really batted well, but after that, she's really not looked herself. Here is Williams driving down the ground, and in comes the in-form Chanel Henry. Let's hope that her form can continue from the 50-over series. She has improved her batting, Chanel Henry. Chanel Henry also taking an, am I seeing right? Middle stump guard, it looks like, or middle and off. Let's see if she's taking that again. She takes another guard again. Okay. So let's see what the approach will be. Henry will face her first delivery. And Bates is going to bowl to Chanel Henry. Into Bolter and down the onside. She starts with a wide, goes past Gaze, and they will get a couple of runs if they want it. And almost suicide against Stacey and King. Yeah,
they've got me in my seat, just shadowing a bit, trying to get my legs in. Yeah, they've got to run a bit better. Communication needs to be better.
Why are they taking those chances? I would never understand. It's almost like a desperate situation that you're just looking to get runs, but you have to be careful. You have to be responsible. Henry still a naught. She comes quite forward. They offers forgives for a single, and then the direct hit again, but I think she's got in with the dive.
A good awareness again from Susie Bates. This one played into that onside. Soft hands, but Susie made grounds really quickly. Yeah, that dive just getting her in, Chanel Henry, but again, another chance, he's single.
89 for 5. Henry 1. Williams is 10. She gets a full toss and clips it beautifully over the mid-wicket area, down to the boundary for 4. That is a lovely cricket shot there. And that's her strong point. That's her area. She goes up to 14. West Indies 93 for 5. Henry is 1 at the end of over number 15. And the RS team will be back in track in Ronnie and set.
Thank you very much, Vernon and Stacey. Stacey Ann, I apologize.
Stacey Ann is okay with that. Stacey Ann has been it doesn't matter. She has been such a wonderful servant of West Indies cricket.
Yes, a very kind and forgiving person.
Yes, and coming straight off the field of play, as I was saying to Vinod the other day, into the commentary box, and she has filled that role in such an outstanding manner. And something that we're very proud of as West Indians. I know it's not often you have persons like that. In fact, I think she got into the box because before she retired. I'm going to research that. I'm just trying to play with it.
Yes.
2019, I think we were at right here. This year, precisely. So she would have been there with all the tours by England, by Australia, by India, and last year against South Africa. So she has seen much, and it is really wonderful working with her, Ronnie.
Yeah, and she was part of the commentary team at the World Cup as well.
That's right.
Don't forget that. It's an honor to share this booth with her.
Certainly. Well, Chanel is ready, and Chanel is adding to her stature in West Indies cricket. Good sense. We were speaking about awareness. And it's good to bring some awareness to the reality of West Indies cricket that the three, well, we would have already had the injury to Stephanie Taylor and also the retirement that I think still can be recalled. I'm not going to say who. The need for all-rounders in the team. This one is steered to backward point, and no one on that occasion, Rashada Williams, trying to see how she can push along. But Ronnie, it's 94 for 5. We have, 5.4 overs to go. How many runs you think? 4.4. Maximum of 28 balls. How far you think the West Indies can get?
I think they will want to get up to at least 120, which would give them a good fighting total to work with. But if Henry could get off here, I think they could get in the vicinity of probably 130, 140, because she's that kind of explosive player. And when she's on sound and she's in good form coming off that ODI series, and if she can get off here, I think they're going to get into that 140, which would be excellent for them.
Well, Jensen has other ideas. This one worked nicely into the mid-wicket region. They would not attempt the second run because we have seen, one run out. And we have seen a run out that could have been, had there been any referral or had there been that in play. And then we also saw a few other risky efforts, but perhaps it's part of the new approach. Getting quick singles, something that you may have criticized the team for a year or two ago. You're seeing a change in that approach. Once again, we see Henry has been beaten. Perhaps trying to decide whether to cut or whether to drive, play through the line, because her front foot remains anchored. Her back foot also remains in the same position. What we're seeing is the flashing of the blade. So she would need to decide whether she's going to back away and cut or whether she's going to step down and go through the line, Ronnie.
Yeah, and it's smart bowling here by Jensen in terms of it's just back of her leg, not allowing her to come on that front foot and hit down the ground where she's so strong. And it's not short enough where she can pull.
I think that may be really the trick of the trade. She is not short enough to cut or pull, not up enough to drive at your will. So making the adjustment may be the challenge. So 96 for 5, 4 overs remaining. I'm going to put you on the spot. What will be the final score?
Well, I will tell you this. At the end of 20 overs, I'll give you the final score.
It is clear that you're not a betting man. It's clear that you are not going to put your word out and can't defend it. They usually say don't show the signal unless you're sure you can back it up, right?
Correct. If there's no facts, there's no need. Yes, so just looking at, the partnerships, that excellent partnership between Haley Matthews and Arlene of 66. And after that, there's no real partnership. And that is the problem. After that partnership, we had a partnership of 3, then 2, now 12, and now 11. So a partnership has been built here, and that is what is required. Batting partnerships. And when you build partnerships, you get that total that you want. The batters get set, and they can explode in the end.
Divine is there. This one goes between the backward point and the gully fielder. Will it beat them into the boundary? It does. So 4 runs to, is it Henry?
It's Williams.
Williams, so she would be, in fact, Chanel Henry.
No, Chanel
the
Henry,
100
correct.
comes up, and Chanel Henry will be happy because she is trending again towards that all-round status. We know her as a good, tidy, medium fast bowler for the team. Pretty good in the field, but the batting needs to have its say. Oh, this one is well played. Square of the wicket all along the ground, but it will not reach the boundary. She picked that one nicely on the volley.
Yeah, and you're right. She didn't try to overhit that one. Just waited on it and just guided it past that fielder and into the gap. So that's really smart batting we've seen from Henry here.
Divine, this time it's a over pitch delivery. Full toss, just bordering on the wide line. Only a single. Chanel may have felt that she missed out on that one.
Yeah, well, she dared to prove me wrong at that point, where I said no, she's just waiting on the ball, hitting them, playing with the piece. This time she went for brute strength and didn't get the timing.
This time, oh, lovely catch, brilliant catch, diving to her right. Is it Jonas? That one flew off the edge and she flew like a bird and picked it out of the air. What a feeling, Ronnie.
Yeah, that was excellent from the fielder. Let's see if we can get confirmation on the fielder. As you said, it seems like Jonas. And that was brilliant. Eyes on the ball all the way. And just cushioning it at the end. And yes, it looked like Jonas. And that's a right hand. That's a weaker hand. So that's very good. And good technique in terms of cushioning the ball. And not only that, the fielders, they have a tendency when they drop to the ground and their elbows hit the ground, the ball tends to pop out. But it's good technique in terms of crouching and trying not to let that elbow hit the ground hard. So that's excellent. There we go again.
And the timing was perfect. She was already in the air, took it nicely to the right, and landed well, which is critical. And New Zealand, they are really stepping up things here. Have the West Indies in a spot of bother at 103 for 6. Williams departing, and Henry now would be the one perhaps who want to take it over. Karishma Ramharak, more known for her steady off-spin bowling, comes out with Chanel Henry. Henry drives at that, trying to go down the track. That one was pitched wider outside the off stump, and Sophie Devine would be completely happy with that over. Another wicket to the New Zealand team. The West Indies would be disappointing.
Yeah, well, Sophie Devine would definitely be happy because she's the current #1 all-rounder in Women's T20 International. So she's showing her class here with both ball and bat. And, well, we know what she's capable of with the bat. So she's really proven, showing that she is the #1 all-rounder. And Haley Matthews is there at #5, followed closely by Stephanie Taylor at 6. So these are the players, the women that really show their class in the all-round category. And it's really good to see them on show here and showcasing their talent It's
This time, we see Ramharak really showing her intent, getting at least 2 runs here. In fact, that's Gajnabi. So we have had somewhat a change. Gajnabi right. Shabika Gajnabi. There was some thought that she could have come a bit higher in the order. No. Oh, this one is wide outside the off stump. Not taking.
Well, I can see the thinking of the management here in terms of sending Nation and Henry ahead of her is to keep that attacking nature going.
Yes.
After that wonderful partnership between Elaine and Matthews, they would have want to continue that aggressive nature, and that's the reason, probably for sending those players ahead of Gajnabi.
Well, she fell in that situation. She was going down the track, wide signaled by the umpire. In fact, all the stumps were pulled towards the leg side because she was definitely doing something good, going down the track, but may have lost her footing, but had the presence of mind of anchoring back.
And that's a good piece of work there by Easy Gaze in gathering that one wide delivery and trying to get back to the stump. So that's wonderful work all around there by both batter and keeper.
So doesn't look as though they would get up to what I thought at one stage when we had that second wicket stand. I was looking at perhaps 140. They were going at just about 7 runs per over. Since then, they have really been set back here.
Well, as you mentioned, the partnerships, no real partnerships after that wonderful partnership up front. And that has been the main reason, a procession of wickets here. Excellent bowling, excellent fielding by the New Zealanders, and they kept the pressure on.
And the partnership had a mixture of good hitting, good running, and consolidation after losing the first wicket on the second ball. This one is out caught once again. Chanel Henry trying to drive through the offside. It was a delivery pitched and going further away. And here was she driving loosely. The catch has been taken by Divine. So Kerr gets another wicket, and the West Indies losing their 7th wicket here. A comfortable catch.